ABC 57's Annie Kate is covering the trial at the Carroll County Courthouse in Delphi. She's live there with day 3 of testimony for us. Annie?
Yeah, Brian, just like you said, it was a very tough and emotional day in court for everyone, especially the victims' families, as more than 40 crime scene photos were displayed for the juries. Now, some relatives sobbing, holding each other, others looking away. The state's first witness today was Carroll County Deputy Darren Giancola. Now, he helped with the search efforts for Libby and Abby on February 13th, 2017, going through electronics before searching on foot. He noticed disturbed leaves on the north side of the Monon High Bridge. On that first night, he said they weren't investigating a murder. It was on no one's radar at the time. The next day, he was told searchers may have found the bodies. Now, he saw Libby's clothes in Deer Creek, too, but he couldn't see the bodies from the creek. When he finally saw the girls, though, he said, quote, "One was nude, the other was clothed." Choking up, he continued, quote, "Both had large lacerations to their throats. Both had substantial amounts of blood on their person and underneath," end quote. He said it was apparent they were deceased. No life-saving measures were taken. He testified to carrying a Glock 17 9mm. Now, the state's next witness, Indiana State Police Detective Jason Page, he testified about the football field-sized area of focus, Ground Zero. The prosecution seems to be laying out the initial investigation and the lay of the land of the crime scene. Now, this is the part of the testimony where his crime scene photos were displayed to the jury, a very difficult moment for them, but especially the families. Now, I think another important aspect, Brian, of the trial is the people that are coming from out of town to be here for this, and not just members of the media like myself. So I wanted to highlight one of those folks, and you'll see that coming up on ABC 57 News at 5:30. Someone who traveled here to be here for Libby and Abby, and also her YouTube channel. For now, reporting live in Delphi outside the Carroll County Courthouse, I'm Annie Kate, ABC 57 News.
On day 3 of the Richard Allen trial, prosecutors showed dozens of graphic crime scene photos confirming the girls' throats were slit. One of them was left nude, the other fully clothed. ABC 57's Annie Kate is covering the trial for us at the Carroll County Courthouse in Delphi, where people are coming in from all over to witness this high-profile case in a small Indiana community. Annie?
Yeah, Brian, this case has brought national attention over the past almost eight years. And of course, the trial is no different. Now, along with members of the news media here to actually cover the trial, we've also seen YouTubers, podcasters, and those who are just personally invested or fascinated in the case. Now, I wanted to highlight one of those folks coming here for this reason, and Ange Lynn, who came she came to Carroll County from Cleveland.
I remember watching it when it first happened, and, you know, the devastating search that, you know, what they found the next day, like, it's heartbreaking.
Now, she says in 2020, during the pandemic, she visited Delphi to see the Monon High Bridge for herself, the very spot where the girls were taken back in 2017. And she kept coming back after that, joining various memorial walks, meeting others also invested in the case. She's also a YouTuber, following the Delphi case on her channel since her trip to Delphi in 2020. Today, she was out live streaming outside the Carroll County Courthouse.
Very connected just by doing these memorial walks together. You feel closer, like almost like, wow, I feel like I knew these girls.
She has bracelets for Abby and Libby, and in their honor, she created goodie bags to give away at the most recent memorial walk, which was the Sunday before jury selection. And she brought even more today.
The thing is, Libby and Abby were doing the right thing. They were sticking in pairs. Like everybody to be safe out there. So I put these little bags together called Safety Stuff and Shenanigans, where I put like an alarm in it. Little whistle to just, you know, call for help. Could they have been heard that day if one of them had a whistle? Who knows?
And she actually gave me one of those goodie bags. She calls it safety stuff and shenanigans. And like I said, she gave away about, I want to say 60 at that memorial walk. And she brought even more out here with her today. Just one of the many people coming from all over the place for the trial of Richard Allen for the now infamous Delphi murders. Now, coming up at ABC 57 News at 6, I'm going to pick up where I left off at 5, starting with the defense's cross-examination of a former ISP investigator. So stick around for that. Reporting live outside the Carroll County Courthouse here in Delphi, I'm Annie Kate, ABC 57 News.
ABC 57's Annie Kate is covering the trial at the Carroll County Courthouse in Delphi for us. She's live with the latest testimony tonight. Annie?
It's a hard day in court today, Brian. It's the first time that the jury and those of us in the media and members of the public saw those crime scene photos that you just mentioned of Abby and Libby from back in February of 2017. Now, it was not easy for the jury, as they looked visibly uncomfortable in court, I'm told, but it was especially hard for the victims' families. Now, at 5, I told you about the testimony of Indiana State Police Detective Jason Page, so I'm going to pick right back up with his cross-examination from the defense. Defense attorney Brad Rosie asking about how the crime scene was handled, apparently getting heated. There were not more photos of the bullet found at the scene at different angles. And to that, Detective Page said, quote, "Anything we see that could be evidence, we take a picture of it in its place," end quote. Page said he took pictures of the shoe impressions left at the scene, and Rosie grilling Page about what was tested, what they were looking for, what he knew about the autopsies, etc., which he did not attend the autopsies. He also noticed sticks that appeared to be placed on the girls, which he noted, but they weren't tested for trace evidence. Now, the state's next witness, Dwayne Datzman, a former ISP investigator who found the bullet at the crime scene. He testified that he saw something shiny in the ground, brushed a few leaves away, and found the .40 caliber cartridge. He also says investigators removed sticks from the girls' bodies, believing they had no evidentiary value. But 2 weeks later, March 3rd in 2017, he went back to collect the sticks. Now, this, of course, brought about a grilling from defense attorney Brad Rosie, of course, for Page. And he also testified that he did take helicopter photos of the crime scene, but Page did testify that it was quite hard to see the girls, the bodies, from the aerial view. Now, the next witness to be called up was crime scene investigator Brian O'Leahy, attending the autopsies for the girls. But his testimony was cut short today for timing, and it's going to pick up again tomorrow. So it's moving along. Today we've heard from a lot of investigators in this scene. And like I said, picking right back up tomorrow. Reporting live in Delphi outside the Carroll County Courthouse, I'm Annie Kate, ABC 57 News. It was a hard day in court for everyone Monday, but especially the victims' families, as dozens of crime scene photos were shown. We heard from 4 witnesses, all those who initially investigated the crime scene on February 14th, 2017. The prosecution calling Carroll County Deputy Darren Giancola, who emotionally recounted seeing the girls' bodies and described the topography of the terrain. The next witness was Indiana State Police Detective Jason Page. More than 40 photos he took of the crime scene were displayed for the jury, showing gaping neck lacerations, pools of blood, and spatter. In cross-examination, defense attorney Brad Rosie got heated when asking him multiple times why there weren't more photos of the bullet found between the bodies, to which Page said they photographed it in place. The next investigator on the stand, Dwayne Datzman, formerly ISP, who testified he saw something shiny and actually found the .40 caliber unspent cartridge at the scene. He also took aerial helicopter photos of the scene, which were displayed, saying it was hard to see the victims from above. He also talked about the sticks found on the girls' bodies, originally thought to have no evidentiary value, and moved off the bodies. But then he went back a couple weeks later to retrieve them, giving the defense a chance to attack that part of the investigation. He also said there were shoe impressions that weren't thought to have evidentiary value at the time. Now, as you can see, the defense was coming down hard on 3 pieces of evidence today and how they were handled at the onset: the bullet, the sticks, and the shoe impressions. The prosecution, meanwhile, is still laying its case for why Bridge Guy is the killer and why Richard Allen is Bridge Guy. A 4th investigator, Brian O'Leahy, was the lead crime scene investigator and attended the autopsy of the girls. His testimony cut short for time and will continue Tuesday. As you know, Friday for opening statements, I arrived at the courthouse at 4 in the morning and barely got a seat in the courtroom. Monday, I arrived around 8 a.m. when the courthouse opens and didn't even get close to getting a seat. It will be interesting to see what turnout is like for the duration of this trial, which picks up again on Tuesday. Reporting outside the Carroll County Courthouse here in Delphi, I'm Annie Kate, ABC 57 News.